The rain had stopped an hour ago, but the streets of Yaba still glistened under the amber glow of scattered streetlights. Emeka sat beneath the overhang of a closed electronics shop, his cardboard mat folded beside him, watching the occasional car splash through puddles on Herbert Macaulay Way. He had lived on these streets for 3 years now, ever since the construction company he worked for collapsed and his landlord showed him the door. Most people hurried past him without a glance. He had grown used to invisibility, the way eyes would slide over him as if he were part of the concrete. But Emeka didn't mind anymore. He had his corner, his routine, and on good days enough change for a meal at Mama Ngozi's buka down the road. It was past 11 when he heard the sound that would change everything. A woman's voice, shaky and desperate, calling out in the darkness, "Please, someone help me." Emeka stood, his joints protesting after hours of sitting. Down the street, illuminated by a single flickering light, he could see a young woman crouched beside a car, her hazard lights blinking weakly. Her hands were pressed against her face, and even from a distance, Emeka could see her shoulders shaking. He hesitated. In his experience, involving himself in other people's problems rarely ended well for someone like him. But the street was empty, and her cries were growing more frantic. His feet moved before his mind finished deciding. "Madam, wetin happen?" he called out as he approached, keeping his distance so as not to frighten her. The woman's head snapped up. She was young, maybe in her late 20s, wearing a business suit now rumpled and stained. Her eyes were red, mascara streaking down her cheeks. She flinched when she saw him, and Emeka saw himself through her eyes, a thin man in worn clothes emerging from the shadows. "I'm not here to trouble you," he said gently, raising his hands. "I hear you calling for help." She stared at him for a long moment, then a fresh sob broke from her throat. "My car, it just stopped. My phone is dead. I was coming from a late meeting in Victoria Island, and now," she gestured helplessly at the empty street, "there's nobody, no keke, no damfo, nothing." Emeka looked at the car, an aging Toyota Camry that had seen better days. "You try start am?" "Many times. It just clicks and dies." He moved closer, asking permission with his eyes. When she nodded, he opened the hood. The engine was still warm, smelling of oil and frustration. He had worked as a mechanic's apprentice before the construction job, back when he still had dreams. "You get touch for your phone?" she asked. "My phone is completely dead. Everything is dead." Emeka pulled out a small lighter from his pocket, one he used for the occasional cigarette when he could afford it. The tiny flame was not much, but it was enough. He traced connections, checked cables, his hands remembering skills he thought he'd forgotten. 5 minutes later, he found it. A loose battery terminal, corroded and barely holding contact. "Madam, you get any tool inside the car? Maybe spanner?" She rummaged through her trunk and produced a small toolkit. Emeka worked quickly, tightening the connection, scraping away corrosion with the edge of a coin. His stomach growled loudly in the silence, reminding him he hadn't eaten since morning. "Try 'em now," he said. She turned the key. The engine coughed once, twice, then roared to life. The woman let out a cry of relief so pure that Emeka felt something warm bloom in his chest, something he hadn't felt in years. "Oh my God, thank you!" She jumped out of the car, then stopped awkwardly as if not sure whether to hug him. "Thank you so much. What's your name?" "Emeka." "Emeka, you saved my life tonight." She reached into her bag, pulling out her wallet. "Please, let me give you something. How much do I owe you?" Emeka looked at the bills she was pulling out, crisp notes that could feed him for a week. His mouth went dry, but something inside him, some stubborn pride he hadn't known he still possessed, made him shake his head. "No need, manan. I'm just happy say you fit go home safe." Her eyes widened. "But you must take something. Please, I insist." "Madam, I no do am because of money. I do am because you need help and I fit help. Now so we supposed to dey for each other." Tears filled her eyes again, but different tears this time. "I've lived in Lagos all my life, and most people won't even stop when you are in trouble. But you," she looked at his worn clothes, her weathered face, "you have every reason to walk past, but you didn't." Emeka smiled, a real smile that wrinkled the corners of his eyes. "My mama always talks say, the size of your pocket no supposed to determine the size of your heart." She was quiet for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Your mother raised a good man." She pulled out a business card instead. "My name is Adanna. I work at a construction firm in Lekki. If you ever need anything, a job, a meal, anything at all, please come find me, please." Emeka took the card, though he doubted he would use it. Promises made in gratitude rarely survived the morning light. "Thank you, madam. Drive carefully. It don't late." He watched her car disappear into the night, her tail lights winking like red stars. Then he walked back to his corner, lay down on his cardboard, and stared at the sky through the gap between buildings. He wouldn't eat tomorrow, probably. The hunger would be sharp and demanding. But tonight, as sleep found him, Emeka felt something he hadn't experienced in 3 long years. He felt rich. Not in his pocket, but in the quiet place where it mattered most. He had given something that cost him nothing but meant everything. He had been someone's answered prayer. And in a city that had stripped him of so much, it had left him this, the ability to be kind when kindness was hardest. The streets of Yaba grew quiet around him. Above, a few stars pushed through Lagos's perpetual haze, bearing witness to a transaction that would never appear in any ledger, but would be remembered by 2 people for the rest of their lives. Sometimes, the greatest wealth is measured not by what we receive, but by what we give when we have nothing left to give. And sometimes, the poorest among us are the richest in the currencies that truly matter. Emeka closed his eyes and smiled. He had helped someone today. That was enough. That was everything.